Alright guys, so I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. Let me introduce you to the 1978 C20. And you may have noticed it's actually a short bed pickup. It's a 1978. I picked this thing up down in California for right around 800 bucks. And as you can see, it is a short bed pickup. But what you might not have seen right at first is the fact that it has 8 lug wheels. So one of the things I've done is I've taken and I've shortened the frame on this thing 14 inches. When I bought it, it was a long, it had an 8-foot flatbed on it. But I've taken and shortened the frame, and I'll try and show you where I've actually shortened the frame. There you can see I shortened the muffler. It's got a little dinky shorty muffler on it. So right there is where the frame was chopped and 14 inches of the frame was removed. And what I did was put a diamond shaped patch on the inside of the frame rail, and I'll try and show you on the other side of the truck. Right there is the diamond shaped patch on the inside of the frame. So I wanted this truck to be a 3/4 ton for a very specific reason, and I'll get into that more in a later date. Some people might ask, why didn't you just buy a C10 that's already a short bed? I wanted 8 lug wheels. I wanted it to be 3/4 ton for a very specific reason, and I'll talk more about that in a later video. So this truck under the hood, and when I first drove this thing down in Auburn, California, right before I bought it, it felt like it had a lot of power. And it would peel out no problem at all. But I brought it up here to Nevada, which is, we're right around 6,000 feet here, so it doesn't have near the power as it did down close by sea level. So this truck, when I first looked at it, appeared to be in really great shape. The only problem that I could see was right here where the fender is bashed in a little bit, and over on the other side, oh, right here I've got Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. The only problem it had, this fender was actually all white when I bought it, and it was, somebody had backed into it right here and pushed it in. So I took this light out and went back in there with a bar, and I was able to pop the dent out. But this, it would have taken way too much body work to do a really nice paint job. So I started experimenting with some patina work, and what I've done is just ground it down to the bare metal and then rusted it with a solution of salt and hydrogen peroxide and vinegar, and it turned out really well. Same thing with the doors. The doors had a 3-point mirror on it, which I didn't like, and I decided to switch it out for a set of the nice sleek mirrors which I had on hand. The problem I ran into is when I went to weld the holes, drill the new holes for the sleek mirrors, there was about a 1/2 to 1/4 inch of Bondo right here where someone had really done some body work on the door. So I ended up just taking the grinder and removing everything, Bondo, paint, and I'm experimenting with patina. I think it's going to turn out pretty good. The other thing I went and did is I went ahead and removed basically the entire interior. All the door panels came off, the windows came out, there was no carpet to speak of. The seat came out. It had a little acoustic panel back here on the back wall of the cab, which I removed. And the entire HVAC system has also been removed. One of the things that motivated me to buy this particular truck is it has factory air conditioning. So the factory air conditioning is going to be working when I'm finished with it. And yeah, this is going to be if we tint the windows, even in the hot part of the desert, it's going to stay cool on the inside. So I removed the seat as well, and those boards are what I was sitting on to drive it. So the reason I'm tearing out the whole interior is I'm going to take acoustic panel, sound deadening material, and I'm going to cover the whole firewall. I'm going to cover the floor. I'm going to cover the rear panel of the cab. I'm going to cover the headliner and also inside the doors with acoustic panel and sound deadening material. And I think I'm going to go 2 or 3 layers deep so that this truck will be quiet as a mouse when you start it up, and you should be able to hear a pin drop. Back here in the box, you can see the remnants of my interior. Here's a glove box. Here's the radio. Look at this thing. It's as big as a moose. Here's the old mirrors that were on the doors. As you can see, they are 3-point mirrors, and this particular mirror was actually welded to the door, so I ended up having to cut it off with a grinder. And I never did like this style of mirrors, so I'm going to replace them with the sleek mirrors. I don't know what they're called. I call them sleek mirrors. You can call them whatever you want. Here is the old dash panel, and as you can see, it is basically toast. So you'll be getting a new dash panel. There's going to be lots of new parts going into that interior, and I might mention this foam here is a low rider seat concept that I'm experimenting with. So I think I'll talk more about that in a later video. But one thing about these old square bodies is the seat always seems like it sits way too high. And especially if you put in an aftermarket seat, then you sit even higher. And so I've always been trying to come up with a way to sit lower in a square body, and it's way more cool that way. So let's go around to the other side, and we'll take a look at the I'll show you the door on this side where I've done some more patina work. I've got 2 holes right here that I need to fill in with the welder before I'm ready to slap that other mirror on. As you can see right here is the wire going up to the dome light, which obviously has been snipped years and years ago, which might explain why the dome light was not working when I got the truck. So that's going to have to be addressed. Right here is the dome light on-off, the dome light kill switch for the doors. So they're rusted and frozen up. They are definitely in op, so that's going to have to be addressed. We got some nasty looking wiring down in there, which is all going to come out before I start installing the acoustic panel. Another thing that I might mention, and I've been playing with this truck for a couple of weeks now, one of the things that I've done is I pulled the entire steering column out and I shortened it by 2 7/8 inches, so basically 3 inches. And it was 2 7/8 because this little collar right here, that was all the play I had before the gear shifter collar went down against the instrument panel. So 2 7/8 was all I could cut out. The steering wheel is now closer to the dash panel, which makes it much more comfortable for me to drive. And if any of you would be interested in knowing exactly how I did that, I will just leave me a comment and I'll definitely make a video on the shortening of the drive shaft. This fuel tank right here, I'm not sure if it's going to be the actual fuel tank that I'll use for this pickup. I think it's way too big. It's just something that I had out in the boneyard, and it was rusty enough. I decided to throw it in the back of the truck and see how it looked, because when you start getting into these short bed pickups, if you don't have dual fuel tanks, your fuel capacity is very, very low. I believe a short bed pickup is 15 gallons and the long bed pickups are 25 gallons per side. So I'm going to have to do something, because this pickup, one, it does not have dual fuel tanks, and 15 gallons just doesn't get you very far. So I got to come up with a bigger fuel tank. As you can see, I've removed the air box from inside the engine compartment. That piece actually contains the AC condenser, so that's all going to get cleaned out, and it appears the old heater core was leaking, so we're going to have to get a new heater core, get that installed, and that will all go on after the insulation is installed inside the cab. So basically all I have to do now is finish cleaning out the interior, and we'll go to pressure washing. Alright guys, it got dark on me last night as I was finishing up the pressure washing, but I think it turned out pretty good. It cleaned up really nice. I was able to spray out all of the old insulation, and man, there was a whole dump truck load of dirt that came out of here. But overall, I'm very pleased with the way it turned out. So, thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned. The next step is going to be getting all the sound deadening material up on the firewall, and basically encasing this whole cab with sound deadening material. So stay tuned for the next episode.